That's right.
I'll just tell him.
All right. It is 6:13, and we're going to continue with our July 16th Board of Selectmen meeting. I would invite everybody to please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. We had several non-publics prior to this. A couple of them we need to discuss about sealing. We had two under 91A32C, both dealt with personnel, and I will make a motion to seal those both indefinitely.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving on. Next on the agenda, public comment. Does anybody have any public comment? Please.
Bailey. You derive your authority to tax residents from the ballot, where those same residents approve proposed ballot budgets. Without that approval, property taxation has no validity whatsoever. Last November, the then selectmen made a calculation error in their taxation process. It apparently arose through the use of incomplete valuation data. By December, various estimates were given by the board and other town officials. They ranged from hundreds of thousands to over $1 million. Details of how this came about, the exact amounts of the overage, and any proposed solutions have not been forthcoming. This has not been a showpiece of your transparency or your accountability. The taxpayers awaiting an explanation and awaiting refunds or credits from the money collected without authority have waited in vain for 8 months. Do you really need to be told that the amounts collected over those approved by the ballot are not yours to spend? Some might be telling you otherwise. Like as not, there's some dusty RSA has been winkled out to support such a conclusion. This would be totally wrong. And not just wrong in counseling this, but wrong-headed as well. Were this misconception correct, the board could collect whatever it wanted, whenever it wanted, without any authority whatsoever, through the simple mechanism of an error. It could do so every year. That way lies madness and corruption. Give back the money, every penny of it. Announce it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any other public comment? Please state your name.
Larry Brown. There should always be an alternate reality, and it is my understanding that a case law, court decision, and DRA policy together have determined that a mathematical error in warrant is save harmless and licit, which means absent proven malfeasance, it is left to the operation of the processes of the municipality to correct any errors for good cause shown. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any other public comment? Right, I do not see any, so I will close public comment. Next on the new business. First on the agenda, Milton Police Officer swearing in and promotion ceremony. Chief Kraus.
Tonight we have the privilege of introducing Will, if you want to come up, one of our newest officers, William Mahoney. Will is a graduate of NHTI with an associate's degree in criminal justice. He is also a resident of Gilmanton, and he's been working to be a law enforcement officer and working towards this since, what, high school?
Probably middle school.
Middle school?
Yeah.
So wanted to do this for a long time. Thankfully, we were able to get him to come here into Milton. He's going to go to the academy next month. He'll be back in December. So if any residents see him out on the street, he gets to ride with me. Unfortunately, he gets to ride with me until he goes to the academy. So you can stop and apologize to him because he has to ride with the chief for the next month and a half. But stop, introduce yourself to him, get to know him a little bit better, tell him the good things about Milton. That's it. You want to come up, pin your badge on your phone? Step right over there in the middle.
All right.
You guys are welcome to step up and take a photo.
I'll say this is a really good shot. He said no, Jimmy. Like a massage. Joy. I told him to bring his glasses.
Look at it.
All right.
All good.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Will Mahoney,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully, impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent on me
all the duties incumbent on me
as a Milton police officer,
as a Milton police officer,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations
agreeably to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution and laws
of the Constitution and laws
of the state of New Hampshire.
of the state of New Hampshire.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Well done.
Tonight, we also have the privilege of promoting an officer who's been with us for a little over 4.5 years. He is also our DARE officer. He's also one of our use of force instructors. He is a baton instructor for us. He's also the first officer for the town of Milton to receive a congressional award for his actions for the fatal fire that happened here on 125 a few years ago. It's my pleasure to introduce everyone to our new corporal, Nicholas Nurjanakis. The sister wants to come
My nails might stab you harder.
It's okay, everybody's watching.
Oh, why didn't you tell me that?
I really messed everyone.
It's so much easier.
It's only his twin sisters.
As far as I'm going to get, that's fine.
Right here. I
I,
state your name.
Nicholas Nurjanakis,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully, impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties
all the duties
incumbent on me
incumbent on me
as a Milton Police Corporal,
as a Milton Police Corporal,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations
agreeably to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution and laws
of the Constitution and laws
of the state of New
of
Hampshire.
the state of New Hampshire.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thanks, man.
Congratulations. I need your signatures. Need your signature right there. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Roll Okay, next. We'll just wait a few minutes.
Yeah.
We can assign this.
This one here is not gonna happen, right?
I'm assuming that's what that meant. Is that your signature there?
It is.
That means we're not, that's on hold, correct?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
winging it anyway.
We can clear it out.
All right, so
Okay.
we just need to go to the town clerk.
Okay.
Do they get copies of those for their own personal?
I can get them copies and put it in their personnel. One's gonna go in their personnel file. And
Yeah,
I'll
but I
give
mean,
them another
it's nice
copy.
to have a,
Yeah. So I'll make 2 copies.
Okay,
Because he's got this gentleman here.
yep, so not on the agenda currently is discussion about GIS. So we're going to add that now, and that is going to be our next topic of discussion. Invite Bruce, town planner.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Select Board, I have with me here Tim Fountain. He's the Vice President of CAI, one of the preeminent, probably the preeminent geographic information system firm in New England, I believe, especially New Hampshire. But what I want to talk about is making sure that you understand the process that we went through to select and then negotiate with Tim and CAI for GIS services. And it started in April. Actually, it started before that because there was a warrant article with regard to appropriating funds to at least pay for most of the future GIS service. We knew full well that it would not pay for the whole thing, and so the plan was always to get additional funds from different departments and boards and commissions. That said, that warrant did pass, and then we started to go through the process of getting proposals from the various GIS firms around the region. So we sent proposals out in April to, I believe, 5 different firms. We received proposals back from 2. One was Stratford Regional Planning Commission itself with their fledgling program and CAI. There was an ad hoc committee that got together, read the proposals, discussed them, met, and then chose one of the 2, and that was CAI and Tim Fountain. From there, we took the proposal and we sat down, I think, the first week of June with Tim, and that was Dana and I, and we negotiated, I think, adjustments to the proposed contract that was in the proposal. And I will let Tim talk to you about what that resulted in. But I will say before he begins that our aim tonight is to do 2 things. One is to show you the money piece. And I did send you the email, and you should have a copy of the email that talks about the fact that the fee that we eventually negotiated, and Tim will talk about that, as I said, it is $12,950 to set up the GIS service. It's a web-based GIS service. Minus $8,000 from the warrant, $1,000 from the Conservation Commission, $500 from the Fire Department, $500 from the Police Department, $500 from the Department of Public Works, and $500 from the Planning Board. That does leave.
I found it.
One.
I found it in my budget.
I was going to throw it to you in a second. That leaves about $1,950 to round this out. Now, one thing that we do have to say is that after the service is moving along, should you move to sign the contracts tonight, is an annual hosting fee. Tim will explain what that is, but that annual hosting fee won't be due until the service, the month after the service is up and running, and we hope that that will be in the next budget year so that you won't have to appropriate any other monies or pull it from somewhere else. So I think Tim is ready to explain to you what the things that we negotiated down or out or in.
Sure. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Select Board, for inviting me your evening and giving me the opportunity to speak to you. The proposal that you have in front of you at a very high level includes converting your parcel map data to Geographic Information System format, a GIS format, and developing a town-wide zoning map and zoning data layer. It also includes the initial setup and implementation of a platform, a web platform, so that users can access the data. In addition to that, the setup includes a set of staff tools that are intended for login, authenticated login users and staff that can run certain reports or have access to certain tools to access the data, as well as a document upload tool that one of my earlier meetings was important for the cemetery folks to have access to scan documents and link them to your cemetery. So at a very high level, that's the scope of service that I'm here to discuss. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Specific to Bruce's point, after I submitted my proposal, I came back and met with Bruce and Dana. And I apologize, Bruce, help me with the other woman's name that works with
Kathy.
Okay. My original proposal included updating your parcel data current to April 1 of this year. Based on the timing and the fact that the town already started communicating with the local land surveyor that you've been using, it made sense for me to remove that from the scope and begin the project after the data has been updated to April 1/18. As a result of removing the service, I lowered the price accordingly. Be happy to answer any questions you
So
have.
moving forward, what else does your company offer as far as like road names? I mean, is that all on the mapping? Is that something that's an alternative? I remember back years ago, I think it was Cartographic Associates. That's why I know when I was fire chief that we did, when we did the whole town, mapping of the town, that was years, 20 years ago, I guess,
So, Cartographic Associates Incorporated, that is our company, my company. All right, it's now CAI Technologies, rebranded. So we've been around a long time.
We've been here before. So.
Yeah, so the scope of service that we're specifically proposing now is to take all of that data and migrate it to today's data standards.
Right. Okay, perfect.
Specific to your question about road names, any of the data that appears on your existing parcel maps or tax maps, that's included in the conversion.
Okay.
Okay. So if there are road names and parcel number, which I know there are road names, parcel IDs, acreages, land, water bodies, and that's all being converted over. The whole idea, besides converting the data so that you can use technology today to share it, distribute it, is to put it in a format that's very efficient to maintain it. Think of it this way, that there's going to be one set of authoritative data that, as corrections, boundary line adjustments, subdivision plans come through the land use office, they all get incorporated into this one set of data.
In addition to that, just in case you didn't know it, you look around and you see all these maps up on the wall. All these maps are data sets, not just the pretty looking maps. They'll all become layers that you can turn on and turn off in the GIS. And there will be information that's spatially related to elements in the map on each of the layers. That's why they're called data sets rather than map sets. But one of the things that we're going to do is a 5-year GIS development plan that puts aside $2,500 or $3,000 a year, and that'll be shown up in the CIP, and it already does, where we are going to develop the most, what's the word I'm looking for, the most needed data sets first, and the least needed data sets later down the road. If you paid for it all at once, it'd probably be in excess of $20,000 or $25,000 to do everything that we want to do to make this a great tool for staff, but an even greater tool for people sitting at home on their computer. They'll be able to answer questions that they normally have to come here for. One of the things that I think is an incredible thing is to get the data set regarding the new floodplains. And what it does is it's geographically located so that you will even know whether or not the floodplain is on your house or on your lot lines. You can't do that with the maps that are out there today. But it's a great step forward into the 21st century.
Yeah. What are the annual hosting fees?
Yeah, so there are two. One is an annual hosting fee to keep the system up and running. That's $2,400 a year. That's based on the community's population. Our basement sort of first tier of hosting is for communities 20,000 or less. It's $2,400. So that's what that's based on. The other annual hosting fee is for the document upload tool, which will be distributed to staff login users only. That's $500 a year, and that hosting fee covers support to the users as well as a bucket of disk space so that you can upload your documents too.
So why do we need a document upload tool? And why is it important to pay $500 a year to have it? I think the first and best thing that I can say to you is think of a parcel on the GIS as Tim said, as a bucket where you can upload things like certificates of occupancy, building permits, mechanical permits, plumbing permits, letters from DES, anything to do with that parcel. Zoning approvals, planning approvals, subdivision plans, they all can be uploaded and attached to that parcel so that when you click on the centroid on that parcel, up pops a box that shows you all of these documents. You click on it and the document comes up on your screen as a PDF. So you never lose anything that's written decision-wise or permit-wise having to do with that parcel and all the parcels as they get those things. So that's what's important. Larry handed me this. He says what the very important outputs for GIS are the maps themselves and what you can do with them. The abutters tool is fabulous when somebody comes in and they want to put in an application for a 2-lot subdivision. They need to know who their abutters are. They can do that at home. They can find those abutters using the abutters tool, and then they can print either a report or mailing labels. Another one is public safety. There are several data sets that the police and the fire will want, not the least of which is a water resources map that can help us with our master planning, and it can also help tell the fire chief where he needs to have things like wet hydrants and dry hydrants and cisterns. That's right. Real estate sales and economic development is a big one. It'll become a tool for those folks to come and look at. So I mean, I can't hit all of the spots. This makes this so important.
It helps with like the highway department to plan their work, to know where culverts are, to know where their spring cleaning needs to be, all that. You know what?
It's going to be big with the cemetery.
I'm behind it
Cemetery gets
100%
on board.
because I've dealt with it for years.
So I think that they need you to.
So we need a motion.
I make a motion to go ahead and enter into the contract.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
So somebody just sign it.
Want to sign that one or?
I probably wrote on it, so.
Okay,
probably
is this one?
That's a good one.
I did print a colored version of some of them too.
I don't have a colored one. Where's that? Do you have a colored one there? I don't have a colored one. Somebody has a colored one.
I don't have a colored one.
We don't have a colored one here.
I think they're right there.
Fine. We'll just sign this one here.
One of the agreements is in this document at the back. The other one is here.
I don't have a colored one.
He's got one that he's happy with us signing.
Yeah, we'll just sign it. You got one
Yes,
you're
I
good
did.
with?
Thanks.
Yep.
Hey, great.
Thank you.
I just want to double check.
Thank
There
you.
should be 2 separate agreements. That's the project. Yes. Thank you.
Perfect. Bruce, thank you for working so diligently on this, and I know other towns have talked to other town administrators who've worked on this, and everybody is so thrilled with it.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's great to hear.
I can't wait to use it. 'Cause I've used
And
it.
I've used it in other towns and played with it. It's a lot, so simple to use.
That's how we get new customers, so thanks for saying that.
All right.
What have I dealt with back when it was
Do we need
cartographic?
copies? of
Yeah,
that?
so still the same
Yeah.
owner, still the same company.
Danielle,
Female,
would you mind
Pam
making
Shores?
4 copies, one for my contract book?
Female.
Thank you.
Sandra Butson?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
but I mean, it was, I remember dealing with it though.
Yeah,
I
we're
mean,
making
it was
copies right
huge.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
We
that-
started from scratch.
That's a big project that it typically involves record research, reading deeds, and
What it
surveys.
was.
And
Yeah, it was
yeah.
huge.
Well, it's good.
All
Yeah,
right.
so CAI Technologies, we were kind of known as the mapping guys, as
Yeah.
cartographic associates. So we had to rebrand to kind of.
Well, no, I know.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming
Thank
tonight.
you very much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to working.
Danielle's getting the copies.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Have a good one. So next on the agenda, we have, excuse me, sewer expansion to exit 17. Aaron and Dale. Okay.
How can I help you?
I have notes, but one of the things that
Speak up, please.
one of the things that we've been working on with the economic development is talking about the expansion of services, the water district and also the sewer. It's most especially out to exit 17.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Comes up every 5-7 years.
Right, right. Well, this time I'd like to carry it further, just bringing it up. I really want to know. I know that there was some work done in 2000, and I'm looking at my notes here. Between 2013, 2015, there was some pretty heavy studies done in that, and talks about the expansion. I'd like to go further than that. I know that they've talked to you about the CIP in getting involved, the sewer district involved with the CIP, and at least start working towards getting the funding for the expansion to do a study out there, whether it be that we go through a forced main or a gravity system, what would work out there, etc. So I just want to get that kind of moving forward, and you're the only person that can really, help with.
So you want to,
We need to do a study on the expansion.
well, let's just back up for
Okay.
a little bit. Do you have any potential clients or anything going in out there? Is there any, I mean, you're just extending a pipe and hoping that somebody's going to show up and hook to it? Is that what you're thinking? Or
We're turning it into an economic revitalization zone,
Okay.
and so we're hoping with the expansion out at exit 17 that it's going to start bringing more business. We can't bring more business if we don't know what we can bring there. So if we have a study done and see what the expansion is going to cost us in that, we can tag those costs on to businesses that are going to be coming out there. But until we know what it's going to cost, we can't keep putting it up in the air and blowing and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. And you mentioned water, so typically water would go first because
I understand
it's harder
that.
to find drinking water than,
The water ends right here, though.
right.
So,
Not if you come off Elm Street, the far end of Elm Street,
And
and
bring it
down
up.
across,
go
Okay.
across, but typically,
dead up there.
And
water usually goes first because usually it's harder to find a source for domestic drinking water supplies, before the sewer. So, I mean, if you're looking at both simultaneously, that's fine. But
I haven't met with
I wouldn't
them yet.
extend sewer necessarily without really seriously planning on getting water there for compatibility. Most places, I think, look for a water system because if they're fairly substantial, they need sprinklers and so forth, and they can usually find, I don't know how that area is up there for in-ground systems. It might not be too bad, but it's easier to find septic system capacity than it is water capacity many times, so, but if you're doing both, then you're probably okay.
I'll be on the Water District's
about-
agenda the end of the month, so.
Yeah, it's years ago, I don't know if it's changed much. It's $1 million a mile, so for sewer.
That seems to be the standard number that gets thrown out, because that's what I've
Yeah.
heard for the water too.
Yeah, they're pretty close, yeah. There's this force main, up there, you could probably, I would certainly think you could do a gravity, but it's still, by the time you cross Route 11, 125, jack a pipe through there, do all that, you're gonna be $1 million plus engineering and everything else, so.
I'd like to see it at
Do you know
least.
of any
So-
funding sources that you wanna tap into? Because if you go to New Hampshire DS, SRF fund, that's a low interest loan. It's not a grant, it's a loan. You're gonna have to pay it back. Those types of things are available. I don't know if there's any grants out there for that type of work.
Right now, I think we'd really like to get it on the CIP and make the sewer part of the CIP. I don't think it currently is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I couldn't find anything on the CIP that includes sewer. Is there?
I wish Bruce was still here, but if I recall correctly, I thought what Bruce had encouraged us to do was to put on the CIP that the study, so that way if we do have a business come in, it's already on there, and then you can actually get the business to pay
Right.
for the funding of
For the
it.
impact.
But
So
I
think
can't
that's
do
very
it.
different
The sewer
than-
district has to do it. I can't put it through on the
Right,
CIP.
but I think, I don't think that's what you just relayed. That's not how I understood what you were saying. To me, it sounds like you want to start the study now.
No, I want to get it on the CIP so that we can start looking for the study, so we can start funding the study.
But it's not necessarily going to fund it. You're gonna
Not
fund it until you
necessarily,
have
but if we
business.
don't have it on there, and I spent an hour with Bruce,
Right.
which is where I got my notes from, in that, in order to first start, we need to get it into the CIP.
What is that? What's that? I don't understand what that means. You need a specific amount of money. I mean, you want me to reach out to some engineering firms and get some
No, so-
cost proposals for?
I think all it means is that
You've
we
worked
need
with the CIP.
we put it on the list of CIP projects that we want to look at a study to expand the sewer system. And Pat's raising his hand. I'd like to call him if the board's all right.
Yeah.
What we talked about when we talked about different projects going on the CIP, even though you don't know what the exact cost is, if you start with some type of dollar figure, for example, you want to put in the CIP your study and possible expansion.
Right.
That's what you call it. You put a dollar figure in there. Doesn't have to be the exact dollar figure, and start to put a little bit away so that it shows the residents of this town that you are planning to extend your sewer up to 75, and you can go back to that when the time comes. And so I think that's what you're saying.
It's exactly what I'm saying.
You just want to you got to get it on there so it's visible in this conversation after it's on there. And then he doesn't have to
Right.
put in the
Right.
exact. He doesn't have
Let's
to
say
put
the
in
dollar amount really doesn't matter.
It doesn't
No,
matter.
it doesn't matter how much it is.
Doesn't
It just
matter.
has to get onto the
He
CIP.
could start putting, 10,000 a year away for the study or
Mhm.
whatever the case, whatever you guys wanted to do.
And project it out to 2025.
Whatever. Pick.
Right, and you always
You wanted
leave
to
it-
go over the 6 years.
Kind of an open-ended.
Right, you got 6 years.
So to
You don't have to
speak.
pick a date and that
So we
6
can
year
Right.
do
thing
impact
needs to
fees.
be done here, but you can just start it.
Right.
And show 10,000 for 6
Oh,
years.
okay.
And at the end of 6 years, you got 60,000.
But if we're not showing even that we're
Correct.
interested
Moving
in
ahead.
doing those things, then it's going to be very hard pressed
Right,
to draw
because
those businesses
It won't
into
get
Milton.
rated, number one, it won't get rated from the planning board, and it won't get recommended.
Right.
Because they're not even seeing it. So if they don't see it,
They don't know it
They can't come
exists.
to the Board of Selectmen and say, yes, this is a very important project, we recommend this at number 1 this year.
And one of the other questions I've got though is, do we want to word it for the expansion up, number 1, up 75 plus the system itself? I mean, the system is, you know, the lagoons are going to need work.
Right, because we don't
I mean,
even.
we're getting to the point where, you know, we got to start planning. I mean, I know when my dad was on, it was like, what, 48% capacity. I don't know what we're at now,
We're
but
about 55.
yeah. But I mean, there again, if somebody puts a development in, you know, obviously that's not going to be big enough. You got to put another lagoon in. I mean, that could be. Do we want to word it so that we're not just limiting ourselves to Route 75?
You could probably just word it future expansion of
the sewer. Right.
Future
and the
expansion
treatment
and
plants,
development.
combine that together,
And the
and
future
then throw your
expansion
dollar
and
amount in, and
development.
then at least you got it on there so
Right,
you're looking at
right.
it.
And then, but I mean, maybe talk to Bruce as far as the exact wording to make sure we,
Cover ourselves.
so if somebody does come in, that we can go back and say we're covering our butt. So
Right, okay. I get you, Aaron, now. I was just confused when you first started explaining it. It sounded like you wanted to start the study now. But I'm just saying that.
Bruce
I think
talked
Dale
pretty
maybe had the
fast.
same impression, I don't know.
I thought you were just.
But that's
sounded
why I
like
was
you
a
wanted
little
me to
confused.
reach out to a few engineering firms.
No, I
and
want
come up
you.
with
I
some
want it on the
proposals.
CIP.
Okay,
It
well-
needs to be on the CIP, and in the economic development has been talking since March on getting it on there, and I know that window's closing, so to speak. I mean, y'all have been working on it. I can't see
It
you.
wouldn't get on, I mean, he could put it on the CIP plan, but it won't get rated or recommended this year at all, so there wouldn't be any money
Right.
this year.
It'll be the following.
Unless the Board of Selectmen went beyond the CIP recommendation and decided to do that. That's your right as a board to do that.
Now, are you looking, I heard money was involved, are you looking to, say we pick a number, say it's, I don't know, my opinion is probably going to be $100,000 for the study.
Mm-hmm.
You want the Board of Selectmen are going to raise the sewer rates in order to collect that $100,000 over the next several years? Is that what you're trying to do here, or are you just picking a number and sticking it on a piece of paper? And I'm still a little fuzzy as to what you're trying to do.
Pat?
There can be different types of funding sources. If you could use revenues that are coming in, if you've got a capital reserve fund or a revolving account or someplace that's already in place, you can use those different sources. You don't necessarily have to raise tax dollars to do that. For example, in the road construction CIP has a block grant money coming in. So that helps that money. It offsets that money. Grants that the fire department may get for whatever equipment they're going for. So there's different funding sources out there. It doesn't necessarily have to be, we're going to raise $10,000 in taxes every year. Each year when we look at it, we say, where's some funding coming from this year? Dale might look at his account and say, well, I can take $5,000 out of the revolving account or whatever account that is that they have to help fund that. Doesn't have to move the money,
Right.
but you've allotted it to that project.
But there's also money brought in through impact fees
Right.
for development in that area. I mean,
But-
there's all there's
User
other
fees.
there's other sources,
Right.
and that there's grants that can be.
So when
I
we-
think the best thing is if we direct Dale as a board to meet with Bruce
Yeah.
and come
To
up
get
with
the
a
wording
proposal to get the wording, and then get it on the CIP as recommended per the town planner. Is the consensus of the
Yeah,
board
I
agree
agree.
with that?
Well,
You don't have to make it, you don't have to think about it tonight. I
no, I'm just, I didn't know if I was going to, I don't know if I wanted to give you my personal opinion or not. Maybe I'll reserve it.
I think no offense to anybody, but I think Bruce can probably do a better job explaining it than we have tonight, of why it's so important to be on there.
Can I just say Bruce is a fabulous resource. He is incredibly helpful, and it seems like it's an overwhelming task. It really isn't. but it's a great planning tool, and it's important for the community because we need to have this resource when we're talking about any kind of business coming in and charging them impact fees or whatever it is. But it's very important for Milton as we move forward, because you and I have talked about we need to have a way that, you know, if some other business comes in, how are we going to, they should be driving and helping to and upgrade the infrastructure. Well, this allows us to do that because we have it as part of the CIP, and it helps us in our planning process. So whereas Bruce is the town planner, he's instrumental in doing that. So I really, really strongly want to encourage you to work with him on this. It won't take a lot of time, but just work with him on it.
Okay. All right. I can reach out to him. Probably give his email. I can give his email. On
I can give you his
computer.
phone number. Give me a call tomorrow. We'll make it happen. Okay?
All right. Yeah, it'll give me a better understanding of what he's actually looking for, and then we can figure out where we're going to go. But like I say, it's going to be expensive, and
But if we do it incrementally, things work. It's planning.
that's not something you. Well. Okay. All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Dale.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we good to go. Move on.
Yeah,
MOU
quickly.
conservation discussion.
Yes.
I thought we tabled that.
Do we want to? Are we?
Well, I
tabling
just
it?
wanted to give you an update
Oh,
on
okay.
that. You will have that in your box. The Conservation Commission and the Moose Mountain Greenways, they will have an MOU for you to sign. We've gone back and forth with legal quite a few times about that, about just making sure the wording is there and it's perfect and everything, because the Board of Selectmen cannot do fundraising and all that, but everybody's happy now with it, and our legal team is very happy because now everybody understands what the board can do, and you'll find it in your box. So
All right, so we need to make a motion on that.
you just need to make a motion that it will be coming and you'll be signing it.
Just make a motion that we're going to accept the MOU from the conservation commission.
I don't want to accept it without reading it.
Yeah, I just don't have the final copy because they do, but it's been approved by legal. I can tell you that
Does it need to go now, or is it?
they need it for before the end of the month. So
It's been bouncing back and forth with legal, right?
yeah, it's been.
Didn't we
God.
look at it way back?
You did.
And
they
we talked
took
about
out-
it a while ago.
And they took out that you will do fundraising. You will not do fundraising.
No, all right. Now I remember which one we're talking about.
We
Yeah.
talked. I think we tabled it before at a previous.
We tabled it because of the.
Fundraising.
Yep.
But you're not going to do fundraising. You can't do fundraising.
No,
And
we
that's
can't.
what the lawyer said.
I don't remember ever reading anything about fundraising. The only thing that I remember from the Conservation Commission was the language in that one that was kind of harsh.
That's already
Nowhere,
gone.
right. That's the only thing that I know of from the Conservation Commission.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can table to the next meeting, but they're not going to have it.
In time for their newsletter that needs to go out. I can
You
try
don't
to,
have a copy of it?
I don't right now because they have the copy that they're trying to sign. I can get you one tomorrow morning. I might even be able to go see if I have a copy from the last copy, but on my email if you want to take a break.
Take a 2-minute break.
You
Yeah,
want
Can
to-
I'd
we-
rather, because I'm serious, I don't,
I need a 2-minute break though.
yeah. Can we
Do you
take
wanna-
a,
Do you want to take a 2 I gotta see
Yeah,
if they have
and
the
let's see
final
it.
copy because I know
yeah.
they said it.
Pause while
If we
we,
can just see
pause
the-
for a cause.
All right.
while
So we'll
we-
take a 2-minute recess. 2 minutes is
It
quick.
don't matter, or we can keep,
It,
okay. that's
there's
fine.
no pause, it just keeps rolling, so.
Okay,
either
I'm
turn
gonna
it
go
off
see if I
or
have a
s-
copy of it.
2 minutes.
Because it just went back so many times I didn't think, oh, golly now. I don't move that fast, Julie.
I'm sure people here have other things they want to do tonight. I think our 3 members in the
Yes.
audience.
Half are sleeping.
back in the 2 minutes.
I dried my hands on the way out the door.
That's fine. We don't care what's on it. I just want to see.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right, if you don't mind, while Heather continues to look for that, do we want to jump down to the next one, Economic Development Committee resignation
Sure.
letter? So
Let me just read it.
Yep.
Sorry. We have a resignation letter from the Economic Development from Justin Avery, dated June 18th, 2018. Says, Dear Dennis and fellow committee members, I have thoroughly enjoyed my time volunteering for the Milton Economic Development Committee over the past 2 years. However, I wanted to let you all know that I must resign from my role on the committee effective immediately. Due to both personal obligations and professional commitments, I will no longer be able to dedicate the necessary time to be an effective member of the committee. I am sorry if this causes any inconvenience for the committee. If in the future the committee needs help with anything, including any items that I had previously assisted with, I welcome and encourage the members to reach out to me, and I will willingly assist in any way that I can. Again, I have appreciated the opportunity to get to know and work alongside you, and I wish you the best of luck in your continued efforts. Warmest regards, Justin Avery.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
Great.
Somebody to make a motion to accept.
Yep.
I make a
There you
motion
go.
to accept his resignation with regret.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I just want to thank Justin for his time on the committee. He's been instrumental in getting some of the things started that we are currently working on, so we appreciate it very much. Thanks.
All right. Did you find it, or do you want us to?
I did find it, but again,
Okay,
it's
so-
not a clean copy. They're like things. Cynthia has the clean copy right now.
All right, so what do we got here?
We got this.
Do we have copies for everybody?
I tried to put a copy for everybody, yes. But there is something I have to tell you. It's changed from this copy. So that one? There's this one.
Are these the same copies?
Yeah, I think. Oh no, that's my copy here. That's my copy. You keep that one. Take this one. This one. I'm confused. Okay. The only thing that's different from that one, and that one is, when you get into recitals, number 5 is different. And I've got the wording for number 5. That's what the wording says. Not host.
Okay, what's 5 say?
The town agrees to participate in fundraising and encourage residents of Landis to support MMRG's fundraising efforts on behalf of the Casey Road Land Protection Project. It doesn't say host. Okay? That was the change. You can't host. Basically, the town cannot accept money on behalf of another organization because it would end up in the general fund.
Right.
As you can see, there's a lot of back and forth on this.
Okay.
So, number 9,
Remember, I didn't keep copies to myself yet.
constructing a small parking area.
Mm-hmm.
The town may,
May.
but doesn't have to.
Right.
Okay.
So you need a motion.
I need you to motion to, and then you guys can come in and sign it whenever you're.
Okay, I make a motion to
Sign it.
sign it.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next up, Governor's Road trucking discussion. Andy?
I'm actually gonna open the floor to Pat on this one too, as far as, you know, there's been a lot of, I've actually had phone calls about some of the trucking, the through trucking, and I know we can't legally, people are using our town roads for shortcuts. They're using, like, Governor's Road is one, probably the biggest one as far as shortcuts from 75 over to Middleton Building Supply. So we're getting fully loaded logging trucks, chip trucks, where it's beating the heck out of our roads that really aren't designed for that type of traffic. And I agree that that's, after I put this one in, I was kind of thinking, we got Hare Road that's, if we do that, we probably should do Hare Road. We should probably also do Newt Road. That they're basically using the Milton roads as shortcuts to get to. I know we've got the school, Shore Ridge Academy. They're going to get trucks. They're going to have deliveries. I understand that. You're going to have oil trucks. You're going to have, but when you have tandem logging trucks making a shortcut over to Middleton Building Supply, that beats the heck out of our roads. So I don't know if it's. I guess we can't post it to no through trucking legally according to this, but we can do a weight limit, so I'm not sure what the weight limit would be.
Off the top of my head, I know that if there are other towns that have like different class trucks, like class B trucks, no tractor trailers, they can do box trucks.
Well, I think the biggest problem is the logging trucks, fully loaded logging truck with hardwood going across the, Middleton Building Supplies. There's a lot of weight, so I'm not sure. Just to protect our investment, we're putting a ton of money into our roads, and we're beating the crap out of them by letting these things, just to use a shortcut. I mean, they can go down 75 into Farmington and up state roads that are designed to hold these. So I don't know how is it something you could come up with?
There was something that was on the Public Works net before I went out on vacation, so it was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, that there was another town that was talking about the same issues. And there are RSAs that the selectmen can use.
We've got the RSAs, it's just...
It is going to have to be a weight limit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We've got that, and we've got the lawyer's opinion on that, but we need... What is a comfortable weight limit that, if somebody's going to take a wheel load of gravel...
When we post in the spring, we post 8 tons, because we don't want no heavy trucks on the road.
Right. But then again, if you have an 18-wheeler with gravel,
But you could go up to probably 16, and that would get like a six-wheeler on there.
I want to, I guess, I'm trying to get the big people that are really abusing it. The logging trucks are huge. There are a ton of weight going across there. You've got chip trucks going across there.
Well, my dump trucks weigh probably empty about 18,000. So that's like 9 ton, 10 ton right there, just for that empty. So if you were gonna just allow trucks no bigger than the dump trucks, and you're looking at, an 8-yard load on top of that, that's another 24,000. Now you're at 20, 25, 24 ton, 22 ton. Tractor trailers usually loaded around 100,000, so they're 50.
Well, how about if I make a motion to waive it till the next meeting and see if Pat can do some homework and come up with a suggestion? Is that? I just hate to see we're pouring huge amounts of money into the town roads, and you put these logging trucks across these things, and
the town attorney didn't say anything else, just Wayland.
Well, yeah, not to use no-through trucking, which I personally like that idea better than.
I can share my opinion with that if you guys agree.
It has to be based off safety concerns, is really what it all goes back to, and the roads being damaged because of the heavy trucks going across the roads.
I didn't hear what you said.
So basically it has to do with, your decision is supposed to be based off, or needs to be based off, safety concerns and the road being damaged. The road getting damaged then opens up a safety concern. So that's how we have to derive the weight limit.
I think my recommendation would be to have Pat and the chief work together on something, because the chief would be responsible for enforcing anything if it came down to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put, somebody that's hauling an 18-wheeler load of gravel, restrict them from going. But then again, I don't want somebody that's doing, logging trucks this time of the year. It's just one after another going in, and I hate to keep saying Middleton, but that's pretty much where most of it's going. I don't know whether something we talked to Middleton about is maybe, because you don't want somebody to start down Governor's Road on the Middleton and get to the Milton town line and it's posted and they're stuck. So you'd almost have to have something with Middleton, an agreement with. So I just hate. I want to protect our investments. Number one's our roads. Number one's the people that live in our community. Is the roads are just really taking a beating, and there's only so much you can do. You pump $500,000 into a road, and then 1 or 2 trucks going down through can.
So if, Pat, do you think by the next Board of Selectmen meeting you could take a look at this deeper, or is that not quite enough time?
I'll take a look at it. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough time. It depends on how much more investigation I'm going to have to do to try to find the legal or right way to do what he wants to do.
Okay.
We get the
We'll give it
legal.
to him.
We get the legal
We'll just
opinion
give it
on
to
it.
Can I just
I
give
would
it to
say
him?
give me a month.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
and it has to be enforceable too. That's
Right.
the other thing. So that's why I want the
We'll
chief.
give you what we've dug up so far for legal opinion, and then go from there. How's that sound?
All right.
Keep a month already.
Oh, we might not meet, is what you're saying.
Get
Okay.
scales for all your cruises. Get scales for all your cruises.
So next on the agenda we have Highway Department CIP pickup truck purchase. Pat?
I got the truck capital improvements warrant article passed in March, which was for pickup truck. I went out for 3 quotes. I went to Rochester Ford, Grapponi, and Portsmouth Ford. I got only 2 responses, which was from Rochester and Grapponi. In your packet, you'll see that there's two different types of trucks there. One, on the Rochester Ford, the extended cab truck is the $38,000 truck, and the regular cab is the $36,000 truck. If you go to the pony prices, they are about $700 cheaper than the Rochester Ford. If I can get your blessing to move forward with this, I would like to purchase local. I would like to purchase from Rochester Ford, just because it's local and Milton people work there. That would be my recommendation for the place, and I would like to get the extended cab for $38,631. That comes with the plow, a bed liner, tow package, running boards, mud flaps, all set up to go. That's an F-250
Is this state bid?
state bid. The truck would typically go for probably about $10,000 more than what you see there.
So how much did we have in the CIP? What was,
I just got a warrant article passed for $40,000 for the truck.
I'll make a motion to go with Rochester Ford, the super cab at $38,631.
I'll second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Next, we have cell town property, some highway department equipment. Pat again.
I gave you a package with pictures of all the equipment that we have up there. There's a pickup truck, that mower that we had taken off the tractor that we bought. One of the new pictures that I gave you tonight. We have an old equipment trailer that's questionable, but
Additional.
that's in there. There's things that we're not using anymore, and that's what we have right there. And if we can get approval to move forward, we can have Heather put it on Craigslist or put it out to bid or whatever you. We did better when we sold town equipment on Craigslist, believe it or not, than we did putting it out to bid.
Who's gonna meet with these people?
You.
We're gonna meet.
At the police station.
What's that?
Who's gonna meet with these people?
You can just send them up to the
I
highway.
make a
department,
motion
so
that
whatever
we
they have.
allow the town administrator to negotiate the best price of disposing of said property.
Well, the only, and nothing personal, but Heather really, I mean, doesn't know anything about the equipment. I mean, unless she has a secret trade over there I don't know
The way
about.
we did it the last time is the town administrator posted it on Craigslist, the equipment that we had, with the information saying to contact the highway department and go to the highway department if they want to see the equipment.
What?
Doesn't he have a secretary? Don't you have a secretary?
I do, but it's
Can she?
a town business,
I mean, couldn't the secretary do that? The equipment's up there. Pat has a better idea of what.
I mean, just to line it up and They can come look at it and
However you want to do it.
I'm just asking,
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
it's-
to me, it would seem more streamlined if it was all done up there.
If that's what you want to do, you can handle it.
Ryan?
Yeah.
I mean, am I
I
wrong?
can start off with Craigslist. If it doesn't sell in a certain amount of time, I'll come back and say it's not selling, we'll put it out for bid.
Just get receipts for
Um,
everything, I think, and
do
go with
we-
it.
You doubled that value of that trailer just by putting those Joe boxes on there.
Do you want me to put numbers on it or
Wanna
just
see
the
that?
best reasonable offer?
Want to see that?
no, I go with them. I get the
You
hard
sold a lot
copy
of
here.
things, Ryan.
I think you're probably better off to put a number on them, right? Is that how you've done it in the past? I think if you look at what the market's
Yeah.
bringing and try to get a fair market value for them.
Yeah.
I've never sold anything on Craigslist, so I just don't feel.
All right.
I donate everything.
You're gonna leave it at my discretion?
Yeah. Is the board all right with that?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Do we need to make a motion?
Make a motion. I already did, didn't I?
Yeah, but I don't think we.
Okay.
You made a motion for the town
All
administrator.
right. Well, I
so-
changed from town administrator to Pat Smith, so.
Thanks.
Second it.
All in favor?
Did you catch that,
Aye.
Danielle? Okay, I couldn't. I could barely hear him.
All
I was
right.
sitting here.
Really?
Next on the agenda, prisoner of war license plates. I put this on there. I had a resident reach out, I don't know, probably over a month ago, asking about if the town would accept the POW license plates. Basically, there's an RSA that allows them to get one license plate for free. The state, there's no charge, if I'm understanding this correctly. However, the town charge and fee is still there. And it looks like we basically have to bless off that fee being waived, correct?
Bless
I
away.
bless it off. Make a motion to waive. I don't know how we need it in a
And what about
motion,
Pearl Harbor, Purple Heart and Pearl Harbor survival plates? It's
For
the same-
both.
but- Yep,
It's all three.
yep.
For RSA 261:86 paragraph 2,
Let's make that in a motion.
Waive the fees.
to waive the town fees.
Yep.
Second that.
All in
And
favor?
then it's-
Aye.
Aye.
And then it's 261:86 paragraph 2 as well. Okay.
All right. Next up, approval of minutes. We already have a chance to read the June 18th meeting minutes. Everybody's good with them. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We got a copy for us to sign.
Quite dramatic tonight.
It is today.
Now, I know there's a few things under other business, and if you don't mind, I'd like to do that next before we get into the expenditure report. The board does not mind?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so one of the things under other business is, was a previous discussion under non-public, and out of that, we need to make a motion to respond to New Hampshire Solar Guard. Board of Selectmen will write a letter in response to New Hampshire Solar Guard's request. Making that motion.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Bruce Woodruff, our town planner, as our zoning administrator,
I'll second it.
effective tomorrow. All in favor?
Aye.
And then third, this just came up today. It has to do with the schoolhouse. We had previously discussed that at a couple workshops. One workshop, it was on the list, and then the last workshop we had tabled it for this year. However, Pat had already started on it. He had bought clapboards and had them primed this earlier in the year when he had some time to do that. So he has those boards, the clapboards to side the building. So I guess we need to have a discussion of whether we want him to still hold off or continue with the plan of siding the building. I don't know, Pat, if you want to
I
add
bought the
anything.
clapboards April 11th. After we had a meeting, I believe, or before we had the meeting, because I believe I said that it was already in progress when we talked about the goals at the brainstorming meeting. There were some others that were already in progress, and I was just going with it. It falls under my department, and it is a repair. So I just moved forward, and that's why when I gave you that goal, and I gave goals to try to beautify town-owned properties this year because of the comments of how the town looked and so forth and so on. We picked items that we could do reasonably with not a lot of money this year. That was one of them.
I thought we were just gonna paint it. You told me you were gonna paint the two sides coming from the south and the front.
We got clapboards to strip and replace.
Is there any other buildings in town that have clapboards that you
Not that I
had planned to?
know of. Most of the other stuff's vinyl sided.
Is there a place that those could be stored without?
I just have the pole barn. I don't have any indoor storage. They're all 16 footers.
Could they actually go in the schoolhouse?
I don't know. They're
Yeah, 16
big.
feet, right.
I mean,
Can I ask him a question?
they're long. They're
Yep.
16 feet long.
Is it necessary to go ahead and get those up immediately? I mean, is there going to be water damage to the inside of the
Well,
building?
there's already damage to the building. I mean, we got
But is it going to make it worse if we don't get this done right now?
a rotted sill in the back
Okay.
that needs to be replaced, which we were going to cut that out and replace that when we got to that section. The windows, the glass is falling out of the windows. We were going to take the windows out while we were doing the siding and reputty them and try to clean them up. And then in another year, we were going to try to take care of the roof. The roof's leaking. But the building's in bad shape. It's in bad shape. If we're going to keep it, we need to fix it. If we're not going to keep it, then, I mean, right now, what I have into it is $800. That's with prime and paint and clapboards. And what I did was I bought them that time, so with my rainy days, and I couldn't mow, and I had work to do to prepare them to get to that point. That was my original plan in the spring to move forward on that building. I mean, we talked about scenic byways and all this other stuff, and they want to fix it all up. Well, that was my spot that I.
No, I think we definitely need to do it. I know there has been talk and discussion about different possibilities for it. Some of that discussion has talked about moving it.
So if we already
If we're going to move it,
Well, that's my concern, is if we're gonna move, if we're gonna move it, then it's kind of foolish to.
I mean, I'm going to completely destroy the clapboards, but
No.
I don't know.
I don't know what kind of rot you get underneath it because I got to get the siding off to look at.
Right.
I know that you have a rotten sill in the corner, and so to length of the rock and the extent, I don't know. It sits on the ground, basically.
I don't know. My personal opinion is I think we still table it. We set the clapboards. It'd be nice if we could fit them in there.
What's that?
It'd be nice if we could fit the clapboards in the school
Like
to
I said,
store
I
them.
mean,
I don't know if that's possible or not.
Fit
But
upstairs in the fire station, Milton Mills. Stick them in through the window.
until we talk about till we have a definite plan on what we're doing with the building, I just.
Right. Can we
so what
table
is your
this till our
thoughts on
next
the building?
BOS
You
meeting?
guys have a plan for it, or? I don't know. I'm just asking because I'm curious.
Right, I don't know. I know there was several members that raised their hand over a year ago that basically at some point I thought we were gonna form a committee. But, go ahead.
Can I, because this will fall into that. We're going to have a townhouse stewardship meeting on July 26th at 5 p.m. So anyone who wants to come and join us for that, more than welcome to. As everybody knows, the townhouse is coming to an end on the work there. And I think one of the buildings that have talked about was the schoolhouse. So maybe if we can just table this, let me talk to them on the 26th.
But so if we do the schoolhouse, so that townhouse committee will be no longer. Well, we
Correct.
have to
Right.
Right,
rename
we'll
it,
redo, right.
because it's a different,
Exactly.
I mean,
different
I know
funding,
since-
different.
Right.
I've heard a couple different locations. I heard one was to move it up to the farm museum. I think that was from last year.
Which is an awesome.
Well, I think
Across.
what we have to do tonight is give Pat an answer, because I think he had plans
Right.
on starting the siding on that in a couple weeks. So
Well,
we need to give him an
I
answer
have it done by now.
to hold off or not. So-
I want to hold off. I really just don't want to pour into it until we.
Is that okay?
I
I mean, as
agree,
long as
but
it's not going to cause any.
I can't tell you that one way or the other, and I wouldn't, but. that's
I mean,
something- you
I
guys.
personally
Been
don't.
up there and looked at it?
Yes, I personally don't. I haven't been up there this year. I was up there last year. I personally don't think if we wait another year,
It's gonna
more or
make it
less
any worse.
damage is really going to happen. That's my personal opinion.
No,
but
I mean, then down the road, because we got the other one that we're probably going to end up dealing with too up in the mills.
maybe not.
Yeah,
So, all right. So
Can we
the board
table it?
consensus is to
Table
hold off on the
for
siding
now until we can find out what.
discuss further on what we're doing.
Couple options.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Is there any other business? Are we ready to go
I
to
have-
expenditure?
I administered, but do have another business item too that I'll just talk about now.
Speak up, please.
Yeah.
Are we on new business still or?
No, other
comments?
business.
Other business still.
Um,
Sorry. I jumped all around tonight.
Yeah, you got me all jumping all over the place.
All right, what do we got?
Other business, I was asked to look into how to handle a matter with the cemetery, the cemeteries, and the cemetery. And as we talked about, we have to get a legal opinion on just housekeeping matters. And I did. And we're going to have a warrant article next year to talk about the perpetual care funds. I got a legal opinion again, and right now, people, when they're writing to get perpetual care funds, they do have to write 2 checks. That's the legal opinion. It's the way it is. I got another legal opinion. That's what it is. So that's the way it is.
That's normal.
Yeah. So I was asked to get another opinion, and perpetual care funds go into a charitable trust.
Okay.
And they are under the direction of the trustees of the trust fund. That's a legal opinion. That's the way it is.
Okay,
So, FYI.
all right.
And then we'll do a housekeeping FYI.
Okay, so we good with other business?
Nope, I have
Okay.
a question. Pat, maybe you can. I've been driving up and down 125 here for months now, and there's a couch by Stan's apartment building over here. Am I pointing the right way? This way? There's been a couch sitting there forever. Down in front of Ray's Marina, there's a chair that's been sitting there. Those are just two things I happened to notice, but that couch has been there for weeks anyway. What do we have to do? Why are they allowed to put it out there? Why isn't something...
Well, I don't get involved because they're state roads, so it's kind of out of my...
What do we need to do
I
to...
think that the code officer or someone else would be looking into. I mean, I'm not gonna... I don't go clean state roads.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But, I mean, we don't have trash pickup like Dover. You see something on the corner, people have an orange sticker or yellow sticker, whatever color their sticker is, and that means they've paid $5 or whatever in the transfer station. People or whatever are coming and picking it up and removing it. Why are they allowed to just throw their stuff out on the street and just leave it there? What do we have?
Don't know.
I mean,
Is it in a state right away?
It's sitting right out on the side of the road, right here. Like if you want to watch the parade go by, you could just hang out, and it's right there. Has anyone else seen it? Somebody.
It'd be a code enforcement issue if it's on the property of the landlord. It'd be a code enforcement issue.
Or a homeowner. It's right at the end of where Stan's building is. There, it's right there at that.
well, I mean, I can send the code enforcement officer. I know there is a chair, but in one of the places, but I don't know when I've seen a chair out there, but I don't frankly know if it's in the...
If it's in that driveway or if it's
I don't- if it's in the driveway, it's...
Right.
There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it's in somebody's personal property, and I mean, if they want to have a chair out there to sit and watch whatever goes by, they can sit and watch whatever goes by. I mean,
The chair's not as ugly as that couch is that's sitting there, though.
I will send the code.
And it's just going to start disintegrating.
All right. We good with other business?
Those are my own.
So, do we want to go back to the expenditure report, or do we want to table that?
I don't
I
have
want to table it actually because I gotta get out.
I don't have a budget committee meeting this month, so we
Okay.
can table it. The only
Let's
thing I'd
table
like to
that.
ask on it, you know what I'm going to ask.
Is it the hashtag?
Yes.
I asked our finance director, I try not to use names, and she's meeting with the person who handles the program. His name is, I can't tell you.
Right.
Okay.
And they're trying to add more columns. But what happens is if the percentage is over,
Right.
it goes too many columns than it goes to. So if you have $1, like if you budget $1,
Right.
and it goes to too many columns, it makes all those hashtags. That's what's causing
But
it.
if they just move that line over a little bit, it wouldn't.
That's what
and
they're
it
trying.
drives them all.
It's a programming error, and it's
Right.
nothing else. That's what's causing that hashtag issue.
As your budget committee rep, can I give you mine just so you can?
Make the correction.
No,
on
just
it?
look,
Give
just
it
some of
back.
my concerns.
Oh, your concerns.
Just as I went down through it. Just, I mean,
Yeah,
some of them are
right.
duplicate
Right.
that, you
Right.
know, that we
That
bring
they're
up every
month to month to
time,
month to month,
but
right.
it's
Right.
just.
We
That
really
haven't
need to
changed.
get those fixed.
The hashtags?
Well, all the stuff that we brought up.
Okay, and
goes-
as far as the postage thing, she told me she was working on that the other day, and
I
it's
mean,
supposed to be
she,
fixed.
I don't
We've
want
been
to sound like
working
a
on
jerk,
postage
but
over
we've
a
been
year.
working on this for,
I know.
ever since I've been on the board, and it's still not fixed.
I think she
It needs to be
printed it.
fixed.
I think you printed it before she fixed it, because she told me Wednesday she had thought she had
But
finally got that glitch
This
out.
has come up like,
It's been
every
going on,
meeting.
I know, it's
But-
giving me gray hair.
well, we somehow
We need
need
to
to get it
correct
resolved.
it.
Or do something different, because it's not working what we are doing.
I wanted to take a hammer to it last week.
All right.
Okay.
Administrator comments.
The abatement checks went out today in the mail. So people who have been screaming, yelling about their abatement checks, they were mailed to this afternoon. We only put $20,000 last year in our overlay account. We exceeded that amount in abatement checks because we didn't anticipate
much
would
do you
happen. It was over $25,000.
More?
No, but we had 20. We put 20. It's over 25,000. It may go up a little, but we're gonna have to put an extra 30 is what we're talking about. Budget process has begun. So that's that, but everybody should be looking in the mail the next few days for their abatement check. My only question is, there's been some talk about meeting, I know somebody's on vacation in August, meeting August 20th because we don't have a lot, in August on the agenda, so we're not having an earlier meeting in August. What is everybody's tendency to think?
I'm good with whatever.
August 20th is the date that I figured I'd be next.
It'll be the second meeting, so I just want to know. And then if anything comes up, we can meet earlier, but
I'm good with the 20th.
Not having a meeting until August 20th?
yeah, so just meet the first, skip the first unless something happens.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
That's fine.
Okay,
All right.
so we'll plan on that.
Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Pat. 1 minute? You got 1 minute?
Okay,
All right.
that's it.
Okay.
We good?
That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Selectmen comments?
Good.
Economic development is rolling along well. We've got a program that we're working with the new UNH Cooperative Extension, which encompasses our ERZ areas, which is the importance of getting things onto the CIP. So I can't wait until fall and have hopefully something substantial to say as to why we do not seem to attract business to Milton.
All right, I got a couple of things. I know it's been a couple of weeks now, but went to the Milton Mills Parade. It was very nice. Nice day, nice weather. I think everybody had a good time. And then just one other thing, the Historical Society is still in need of volunteers. However, they have gained a couple new members, which is a good sign. Also, this past week, a couple volunteers spent some time over there going through some documents and putting them away correctly to preserve them. So if you're interested, you can go on the town website under the About Milton page, and there's a link to the bylaws and the to membership application to join the Historical Society. You don't have to be a Milton resident. Everybody's welcome. That's all I have.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just an FYI, those of you who I've been told, if my daughter gets out of the hospital, I hope to go on vacation the end of the week. If she gets out of the